part 3 about why the COVID vaccine was able to be developed in a year. And those reasons are practical logistical reasons because we had a bunch of external factors line up where we were able to arrange the tests relatively quickly. Okay? And so we had the resources that were available with COVID that we didn't have available in previous outbreaks, like Zika and Ebola, that enabled this. So the first factor was that conditions were simply right. All right? So one of the biggest hurdles for vaccine development is for the disease to be infectious enough that you can actually get enough people in your trials to test whether or not the vaccine is effective. All right, so that's one reason why we don't have vaccines for Zika and Ebola, but also why some other diseases like TB and pneumonia have relatively new vaccines, is because these diseases aren't infectious and widespread enough for us to be able to have effective clinical trials. Also, if an outbreak is confined to a particular type of world, so COVID spread everywhere very quickly, but if an outbreak is confined to a particular area, it can be hard to get the necessary funding that is needed to fund a trial. All right, so that's the first reason, is having enough infections to make clinical trials feasible. The second is that with COVID, because it was so widespread, we had a massive outpouring of resources into the vaccine development, whether or not it was money. So we had lots of money was being poured into it because it was such a huge global problem. Operation Warp Speed being one of those efforts to remove hurdles. And we had a large number of scientists went and dropped what they were working on or put what they were working on to the back burner and used their individual skills as biochemists, as biophysicists, as immunologists, as virologists to study this virus. So if you have a really infectious disease that spreads easily, if you have a ton of money and hurdles are removed, and then you have a vast worldwide army of scientists, all of which are working on a different component of this puzzle, you are able to assemble a vaccine relatively quickly. And kind of one of the effects of this is that in traditional clinical trials, there are 3 phases, and you typically will run them one after the other. For all of these aforementioned reasons, we were actually able to run phase 1 and 2, and then phase 2 and 3 in parallel instead of sequentially. So we're able to do that process within like 6 months and have clinical trials underway and completed by the fall of 2020.